Hey, everybody. Good morning, Lori.
Morning.
All right. Happy Monday. Happy Mother's Day. Happy May. It is Mental Health Awareness Month for May. And so that is the reason we're doing this conversation. And so we're going to give everybody just a couple minutes, let some more people join. Depending on where you're at, it could be a little early still. But while we're waiting, we do have down on the bottom, you should see some options for chat. Or if you have more options, you might have a Q&A box. So while we're talking today, if you have anything that you would like to share, add or contribute, or questions that you want to ask, you can drop it into the chat box there, and then we'll make sure that we discuss whatever this question or whatever is, and we can go through that. The session is being recorded, so we will share it out afterwards. You'll be able to find it in our newsletters, up on the websites, things like that. You can come back to any of the conversations that we had. But Lori, let me let you introduce yourself a little bit. Also, I know we're waiting for Tracy still, but if she pops in, we're not really sure what happened or where she's at yet, but we're hoping to see her here shortly. But we wanted to just have a conversation with the two of you. And so anybody that has not met Lori, she is a salon owner of Salon at Church. She's up in Canada. And she's also on our Aura Collective program. So she's one of 6 salon owners that are part of this that we use for a lot of feedback, a lot of bouncing ideas around too. She gets first peek of any new developments that we're working on, things like that. So she is a pretty big part of our software integrations and new programs, everything that we have going on. So we value her conversation and her feedback on everything. But Lori, do you want to just introduce yourself for a second?
Sure. And thank you so much for that, Lori. I love being part of the Aura community, and I also love being handed the first kind of piece of technology first. So thank you for having me in the collective. I really appreciate it. And you guys are always amazing at taking feedback and making the software even better for all of us salon owners and for our stylists. So my name is Laurie O'Neill, and I am from Welland, which is just outside Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada. I've been a salon owner for about 5.5 years, but I have also been a hairstylist for 21 years. So I have a team of 7 people. We are full service salon, and we have a facial bar as well. And I'm just excited to be here today to share, what I can do to help other salon owners maintain their sanity in the workplace and when they're dealing with our team, because sometimes it's just like the hardest possible job ever. So I hope I can give some feedback and help share what I can do and what has helped me maintain my sanity.
So something I saw, Lori, was that 90% of small businesses have less than 20 employees. How many employees do you have?
Yeah, like 7.
Yeah. And that's totally fine, right? Like we're like less than 20 employees. If 90% of small businesses are at that, there's some similarities and some commonalities between these businesses. But with that comes the fact that you, as the small business owner, then wear multiple hats. And I think a lot of people can relate to that because you carry that emotional weight of almost the entire business, but then you're also the owner, you're the HR, you're the marketing, you're the sales director, you're the therapist, you're like everything to everybody, right? And you might have some people. What does your leadership team look like? Is it just you? Do you have other people helping you? What does your team look like?
What I found is that I needed to take certain things off of my plate. So, what I've decided to do, and obviously, I have someone that's been with me since the very beginning, and she takes on leadership when I'm not around. She is our director of education, so that is her role. And then I have people that are in charge of other things within the salon. So one that is in charge of inventory and like our client management system, and then one who is in charge of beverages and whatnot. So having those people, like to feel responsible as well and giving back to the salon. So that's I like to delegate certain tasks to certain people so that it's not me just doing everything.
Mhm. What do I mean? We're in Mental Health Awareness Month right now, right? But it doesn't have to just be May. It can really be like all year long, right? So what are some of like just big picture, what are some of the things that you do? And we can kind of get a little bit deeper into all of these things, but is there something that stands out to you of something that you do that does provide you that balance?
For myself personally,
Mm-hmm.
is physical activity. I would say like just being active and like making sure um that I take care of myself before I take care of my team. I would say that would be number one. Making sure that, I can communicate properly, and really like spend the time with myself to regroup.
Mm-hmm. How many hours a week would you say that you work?
That I work.
Yeah.
Oh, well, right now doing hair, I do about 20 hours a week. And then doing other book work is probably about another 25 hours.
Mm-hmm. And
Yeah.
then do you spend time like creating social posts and managing your Meta account and doing payroll on a Sunday night and reviewing the reports and working on some other initiatives that you might have? Like all of those non-clocked hours that we don't actually really pay attention to, but you're constantly working, right?
Yeah. Yes, I would say a lot of my time, like anything financial, I take charge of. Anything that is for marketing, I do have a virtual assistant that I can delegate to her, so she can do all of our ads and whatnot. But it's still time approving and delegating and coming up with the marketing ideas and whatnot. So yes, there's a lot of those unclocked hours, especially like responding to team members, text messages, emergency phone calls, et cetera, right?
It's a lot. I saw a stat that I will share, or it's just not, it's from the CDC that they put out, right? But they were saying that chronic workplace stress, and this could be as the owner, your team, whoever in the business, right? Leads to reduced concentration, emotional exhaustion, lower productivity, increased absenteeism, and higher turnover. So one of the things that I'm sure you probably see, I know I see it. I'm a part of so many different salon owner Facebook groups or salon industry groups or whatever it is. And one of the common things that I see all the time is I'm ready to throw in the towel, burn it all down, and move out of town and like sell my business or get out. Just somebody take it away from me. Do you see that a lot?
100%. And I'd be lying if sometimes I didn't think that as well.
Have you ever felt that way like
Yeah.
recently? Like, how do you manage that? Because as the person that's trying to hold it all together, as well as be the owner, as well as like have a business, as well as have a family, as well as like doing all of these other things, what do you do?
I think the first thing I do, I've done a lot of personal development on myself. And if I am feeling that way, I actually check like where is it coming from? Like what needs to change about how I am reacting or behaving that needs to change so that I can show up differently or become in a different mental space.
Mhm.
So if it's pure chaos around me, I'm like, what's creating that chaos, right? Is it something that I can control or something that I can't control?
Yeah,
And, only control or only stress about things that you can control. If it's outside of your control, let's try to dive deeper into what is happening there.
yeah. Hey, Tracy. Good
Hi-
morning.
Hello there. I'm so sorry.
It's
I
okay.
I couldn't
Lori
I couldn't
was just
catch a link.
Lori was just talking about things that are in and out of your control, and we don't stress about things like this. So,
Absolutely.
just good morning and thanks for joining. So we were just kind of talking, and Lori kind of gave a little introduction. And so I'll take a pause here a second and just give Tracy a second also. And so Tracy is also part of our Aura Collective, and she's been an Aura user since the beginning of Aura. She was one of our very first customers. And so we are so happy to have her and to be able to grow and continue evolving Aura Salonwear with her business and with her feedback. And again, just like Lori, she gets a lot of those sneak peeks and first insights, and we throw some ideas to her and she throws them back to us, and so we're able to continue evolving together, and so we value that so much. But Tracy, do you want to just take a second and introduce yourself and your business to everybody?
Sure. First of all, thank you for having me. I do love Aura software, so I'm happy to be a part of this. I have been here since day one, and I have a small salon in Northwest Indiana. My salon is Navi Salon Spa, and we just sit outside the Chicagoland area. So I'm pretty, engulfed in the Chicago, things that happen and the opportunities there. I really love our industry. And like I just recently got back from, the Chicago Hair Show, and there's just so much that goes on in our industry. And I think, for me, I've been in the industry for a long time, and I think finding that work-life balance is so important, and finding the things that, just make you happy and let you move forward. I've gone through so many changes in my industry, and it's a journey. I guess it just, you're always, trying to find, what the balance is and what you can use, and finding the right staff, the right support team. I have a couple great mentors that I rely on for everything I do. And yeah, it's been a great journey.
That's amazing. You're kind of leading me right into a topic where I think I was talking with Lori about this before we joined. We were talking about the isolation of being an owner or a founder of a business, right? Because it can, like, you are the person that controls all of the things about the business. Everybody's looking at you. You do really great things, they're looking at you. If something really bad happens, they're looking at you. Anything in between, they're still looking at you. And so it can be very isolating. It can be really rewarding, but it could also give a lot of pressure, right? There's financial pressure, there's team responsibility, what the culture feels like for everybody, customer satisfaction. So are your customers happy? Are they loving everything? Is everything going okay? Is your retention high? Payroll stress, constant decision fatigue is huge, because if you are the only owner, you are the only one making these decisions. And like, ultimately, right? You might have somebody you can bounce off of, but both of you have found communities that you have been a part of for a while, and we can share them. They're both communities that we align with and work with. One, Lori, you're affiliated with High Performance Salon Academy, and Tracy, you talked about the Chicago Hair Show, but you also are a part of Inner Coiffure, which we also are members of. And so with that, how much has those things helped relieve some of the burden of this independent fatigue kind of feeling, being that you have a community that you can talk to, be a part of, be affiliated with, collaborate on? Like, what do those things mean to you guys?
I
You want
I
me to?
think like I first when I first started the company 5.5 years ago, I just like you said, independent. I felt alone. Like I'm like, am I the only one that is going through these issues? And I remember one day just going out for a walk, and I'm just like, there's got to be something else out there that I can be surrounded by people who are like-minded and whatnot, and bounce ideas. And I know we say, it's we think to we tend to think of more of a negative when we're like, okay, we're going to vent to each other, people that understand us, the difficulties that we have, but it's also a community where we can celebrate wins, and even the smallest wins too, that we wouldn't necessarily share with our team, right? When we have like our biggest day ever, or if we have meet a milestone with revenue, like having that community where you can have like the ups, the downs, and everything everywhere in between is like essential for my mental health.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What
I
about you,
think
Tracy?
I mean, I totally agree, Lori. It's a tough job some days, that's for sure. And I think you just have to own it. I think we get in, I mean, I got in being an owner because I wanted like-minded people, to work with. And, you think that's going to be easy, and it is not at all. It's a very hard finding people. And, the other part of that is it's just how it evolves. In the beginning, it was a lot easier to find employees. It was a lot easier to find clients. And, you go through the ups and downs of the economy and just the changes that evolve. And, we're just in a different world right now. Work-life balance, autonomy, they're just so important to your staff. And so I do count on them, really quite a bit. I have quite a wonderful staff right now. And again, that's come and gone. But stepping aside as the owner, I joined Intercoiffure about 15 years ago and have at this point a core group of salon owners that I can call, text, message anytime, morning, noon, or night, and somebody is there. They have my back, and we just share. We're actually just planning a weekend together right now. We're going to go take a few days and just go hang out. There's about five of us that get together, and I can't tell you I if anybody on here that is a young salon owner, I would say find a mentor. It's find somebody that you can throw that out to. I think I struggled with that in the beginning, and you do feel alone. But once you find that we're all in the same situation, we really are. Nobody is unique to any of it, and you just have to be willing to, put that out there and be vulnerable, I guess, is a big part of it, because in the end, it comes back and somebody will help you.
Love that you said that, all of that. Um, and I love that you guys are getting together too, because does it feel like, and I don't know if it still does as much as it used to, but I just remember there's, a lot of competition. There's a lot of salons. There's like three on every corner, right? So for a long time, it's kind of like you're in direct competition with these salons in your area. You don't want anybody else coming in. People were trying to recruit from each other. Does it still feel that way, or does it feel a little bit more like you can work with the people in your community more than you're competing against them?
I feel like we have a community. I would tell anybody in my area, anywhere, but anyway, I mean, we do have a group in our area. I host a couple events through my distributor, and I invite salons from all over Southern Chicago, even some of the suburbs. I have friends that come out, and all of Northwest Indiana. I'm a big Davines salon, and I have the room to host. So often I'll host and just invite all the salon owners in, and it's just a wonderful experience. But again, I'm there for anybody that needs it, and I just think, there's plenty of guests, and there's also plenty of hairdressers. You don't need to, you know, to to worry about that. We all have our own little unique properties, and people come to you because of who you are, whether you're the most attentive, or you're just a walk in and get a haircut and leave. I mean, there's something for everybody. Not everybody, wants the same thing. So you're going to find your people if you stay true to why you started your business and who you are. If you stay true to that, everybody, they show up. Not always easy, but they do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What about you, Lori? Do you feel like you have a community around you, or do you feel like there's kind of some of that competition feeling?
I feel like we all kind of stay in our own lanes, which is nice too, but like it's not necessarily the fact that we're all getting together and having tea and like comparing like our teams or anything, but I think there is a great understanding of the local area where it's like Tracy said, there's enough guests to go around, the population is growing. So just you excel and you focus on yourself and what you're really good at versus trying to bring other people down. I think that has shifted a lot in the last like 15, 20 years where it was like a lot of competition and now it's just, you know what, like let's all be successful. Let's all if this team member decides to go another salon, it's nothing against that team member or that salon. It's just we were a season in their life and that's okay too.
Think it's the perception and the way that you look at it, right? And the way that you
Hmm.
both are looking at it is a healthy perception versus somebody stealing my team, or like, what are they doing that I'm not? And I think that comes with a healthy balance, both of what you're saying, like kind of staying in your lane, but then also creating a community like what Tracy's saying too, because if you do have people you can talk to or people that you can share ideas or things with, but also like, is there a point where you can do too much of that? Right? Like, is there a point where you're constantly comparing to what other people are doing? Then you're constantly worried about you're not doing enough. Like, there can be like a tipping point where a little becomes too much, or too little becomes not enough. Right? Like, kind of finding that perfect balance. And I think our conversation today is not so much like, hey, look at me, I have all my shit together. It's really like, hey, there's a point where everybody kind of glitches a little bit, and everybody's worried about certain things, whether it be finance, recruiting, HR stuff, team, like whatever it is. Business happens every single day, and it's constantly like ebb and flowing. And it's a matter of finding that harmony in your business not like, hey, I have my work together, hey, I have my life together, but how do we create the harmony around all of it? One of the things too, as the leader and the owner, all of those things, we kind of talk about your workplace culture, because you guys really, if you stay regulated and you are creating the harmony for yourself, you create a healthier workplace for your team. How would you guys rate your culture in your business today? Like, would you say everybody's thriving, happy, healthy, and like living their dream life? Or is there like some of that ebb and flow kind of thing? Like, what do you guys say today?
I think ours is definitely an ebb and flow, which is what I want. Like I think if I would say it was a 10, I'd be lying, or maybe I'd be naive to certain situations that are happening within the team. But it's up to me to manage it, to bring it back into that 8, 9, 10 level when I do notice, or when things are brought to my attention that it's maybe someone is sitting at a 5, 4. Right. So that is part of our leadership, is that we have to manage the culture and see where people are living, and whether within like their career or at home, and making sure that everyone is back to that 9, 10, like you were saying.
Mhm.
And I totally agree with that. I personally am still behind the chair a couple days a week, and that's my personal choice. I still love doing hair. I love being on the floor with my staff. I just think it's a connection that I'm not ready to give up yet.
Mhm.
And I think, being there, showing that side of me, having fun with my staff. It's just such an important part of my team. And, I can't say enough how I feel. I know, some people need to get out behind the chair, and that's great too. But for me, it's been that balance. I think ethics is a big word in this conversation. Again, when you're talking about your community, I mean, I would never take, I mean, that's one of the first things that you agree to when you join Intercoiffure, is you would never poach somebody else's, staff. So we just don't do that. And again, like-minded is like-minded. So my friends in the industry are similar. I trust them, they trust me. We would never go after any staff or any of that kind of stuff. And so I think it's a balance, and I think that it is an ebb and flow for sure.
Mhm. Do you guys feel a responsibility for the well-being of your team?
100%. I mean, again, that's part of the work-life balance. I mean, I'm sure Lori feels the same way. I mean, I have girls that absolutely have to have a lunch and they punch out for lunch. I have girls that don't want to punch out for lunch. They just want to, do it on the fly. It's simple. It really simple little things like that. Letting somebody come in the hours that they want to work, what their mental health balance is for them. I think you have to continually find that balance. I tell my staff, I said, I absolutely will not treat you all the same, but I will treat you all fair. And that's kind of one of my little things. It's like, I just because Susie does this doesn't mean, Susie might have 4 kids and needs a schedule, or somebody else has, Mary Lou, just started out. So she's going to work this schedule. And they just have to understand that is part of, growing in yourself and in the industry.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I Yeah, I totally agree. We definitely have responsibility for their well-being. One part that we did implement with high performance too is having a code of honor, a salon code of honor that everyone does um, uh, approve and agree to upon hiring. And that, one of those is be responsible. And so if you're showing up and you're not quite who you are today, but so not to be negative, but kind of, make it known just to your colleagues and say, I'm not having the best day today. And then the colleagues will help bring that person up or help support them, whatever is necessary, versus then creating that negative talk within the space that can, become an assuming kind of what's happening in that person's life, instead of just clearing the air and being responsible.
I love that, because when you say be responsible, the first thing you think of is just like show up on time, bring your tools, follow your consultations, but you're talking about be responsible for your own self. Like
Yeah.
show up for yourself, be responsible for being your, true self. And if you are having an off day, how you showcase that, or how you express to people that like, hey, I'm just not feeling it today, or this is what I need to
Right.
do.
Right. Someone may show up and just snap at someone, and that person receiving thinks that person doesn't like them, but they don't understand that they got in a fight with their husband or their kid, or maybe their mother's sick, or they have no idea what's happening in their life, and then all of a sudden that person who that got snapped at, it's they're the victim, and they're feeling like that other person doesn't like them. So it eliminates all that, like, kind of that chatter and that talk that's unnecessary, instead of just being
Mhm.
responsible for how you're showing up mentally and emotionally that day.
Hmm. I remember, and you guys have both been in the industry for long enough also, and I've been a part of the salon industry for over 21 years. And so when I first started, it's very different and it changes along the way. But I can distinctly remember when I started hearing the word anxiety. And I was like, what's that? Like, what's all this talk about anxiety suddenly? And we like chuckled about it a little bit, like, why so much? Why people are like coming into the office like, I have anxiety today, and we're like, what? What does that mean? But like, what do you think? I mean, and now we hear it all the time. It's like one of the most highest like prescribed prescription drugs for anxiety. It's one of the highest diagnosis of like young people today is like anxiety and depression. One, I don't doubt that you guys hear it, but two, how do you guys manage that? Like, how do you balance so many different things that are happening in people's lives? How do you actually distinctly help people? Like Tracy, I know you just said like, okay, their schedule or having some autonomy in it a little bit. What do you do when somebody walks into your office or walks to you and says like, I am just struggling so high with anxiety today and I just need to leave? What does that look like?
But quite honestly, my staff would call me ahead of time and they would have the day off. Most of my team would not walk in like that. And they do all, I mean, everybody has something.
Yeah.
So, everybody's story is just a little bit different. And I just try to respect that. But they have access to me pretty much 24/7. And if they're having a tough day, they would truly call me and just say, hey, this is what's going on. And I'm going to tell them to stay home.
Yeah. Okay. Do you feel like we're having more awareness, like as a society, around what's creating these feelings? Or do you feel like something in our environments, like social media, keeping up, building more clientele, do you feel like some of those things are like higher pressure that's leading to these emotional states? Or do you think that we're just a little more aware of that now?
I personally think it's all of the above. I mean, obviously, we know that nobody can detach. They have a phone attached to them 24/7. There's good and bad. We all know attached to that. So yeah, I think I think it's changed a ton. And I do think you have to be aware. I think some people, again, I've had so many staff over the years. Some people go looking for the drama. Some people just have to live in a high anxiety, situation. They have something going on all the time. I do think luck is attached to some of that, and some people just, some days just have bad luck, and it happens. So I just think my personal journey. I've changed so much as an owner. I used to be so much, I'm going to use the word stricter, for lack of, words. And nowadays, I just have so much more empathy for my staff. I think it's everywhere, and I think it's hard. I think it's hard to get away from it, and I think they get caught up in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, again, with being kind of responsible is like you decide if you can show up today or not, and if you can work through it. And not that this is right, but when I was behind the chair full time, it was just coming to work was the best escape for me. So, because I got to talk with other people that can lift me up, my clients, my teammates, et cetera, et cetera. But it's up to that stylist if that's what's not going to serve them, or if it's going to serve them for that day. And if they trust me to have that conversation, if they are feeling super anxious
Mhm.
and they do want help, for me to lead them in a certain direction, I would be more than happy to. But I do say that, I'm not a doctor, and I can help you through what you want, or I can try to give you as much as I can for the day, and see where it lives, and see how to, or this anxiety lives, and how to maybe help overcome or manage it at that time. Then I am more than willing to help them. But, but also be responsible in what they can deal with that day.
Mhm.
I've dealt with and same Tracy. I've had a ton of different team members, and that they struggle with anxiety, and sometimes it's just it's their journey too, right? Like,
Hmm. Hmm.
I am blessed that I don't suffer with anxiety, so I have no idea with what they go through. So I can only lead with empathy and meet them where they're at.
Mhm. You know, when you carry, like Tracy or Lori, sorry, you said you have 7 people on your team, but even if you have seven, if you have 20, even if you have three different emotions are walking in the door that day, right? And also their clients are constantly high and low. So we're managing our clients' emotions plus our team. And if you're absorbing those, how do you guys let that go at the end of the day and just come back to yourself and make sure that, Lori, you said early on, if you can't take care of yourself, you can't take care of your team, right? Like you have to prioritize yourself first. Tracy, what do you do to kind of like let that go at the end of the day? If you're the soundboard for so many people all day long, plus you're hearing clients and their states, how do you let it go?
Um, you know, different things. I have a wonderful husband that listens to me. So that's probably number one. I'm an outdoors person, so I'll go for a walk. I'll, do something outside. I'll garden. I just go sit outside and, relax. I'll put on a podcast. I just I listen to music. We have music in our house on 24/7. You just have to find the things that just fill you up and clear your mind and let you just, get back to who you are. I just, I think finding that balance. And I also, I guess, um, I think I have a couple people I can rely on at the salon. Like they'll joke, with me because I kind of come in and check in on everybody. And one of my staff says, "Are you taking my temperature?" I said, "Yes, I am." Yeah, I just want to check in with everybody and see how everybody's doing. And really, by the end of the day, I mean, it's not to say we don't have bad days, but we do. But we're pretty, we're pretty happy when we all leave at the end of the day. We go to work for the right reasons. We have fun. I don't have a ton of bad days, quite honestly.
I love that for you and your team. That's really good. And all of those things that you said that you talked about, not only is it coming back to yourself, but they're grounding. Those are very grounding practices. Music, outside, doing those things are grounding. So when you're really high charged throughout the day, to be able to let those go and ground yourself again can help you to release those, different emotions that are going in and out of your brain and body all day. So there's another, I think this one came from the World Health Organization, but 76% of employees experience burnout sometimes. And I don't think that we are a people facing industry. We're a people experiencing industry. There's always that joke, if you will, say it's a joke, that your therapist, right? Your hairstylist is also your therapist. Good or bad, people connect to you. People come to you as a hairstylist because they connect to you. And then you also get, dumped on by all of their emotional baggage, also good or bad. Sometimes it's really good. And sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, how do I shake this before my next client comes in? But as a business owner, also, those things happen with your team. And Lori, you said you kind of practice some of those things also where you can sort of let it go. Um, we are seeing also with wellness a big shift in the wellness industry in general. So I always think of that as a mix between salon, spa, and like the gym and fitness, right? We're kind of meeting both in the middle of that. Is there anything that you guys are doing in your business or for your team or with your team to help provide them some of those wellness experiences?
We partner with Lonza, and they tend to have like a wellness event every year, which is amazing. Which then is like half practical, so product knowledge or techniques, whatnot, and then the other half can be like meditation and yoga and sound baths and stuff like that. I love that I partnered with them 2 years ago because because of that aspect of the wellness aspect. When we have our monthly meetings and one-on-one checks, I always start with asking the team, like, what do you feel like saying? Clears the air. They can tell me anything that they want to or not, nothing at all. So just so that I can gauge like a temperature check, Tracy, like where they're at, and then what kind of wellness they need to, or what type of support they need that day.
I love that. Can I add to that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just, my staff is very busy. We don't do a ton of outside activities just because they all have their own, mostly children. But I will like find a day. I like a couple months ago, I just took them all to brunch. I was like, okay, hey, let's just find 2 hours where we can all hang out together. And, we did, and it was great. I also, again, I think because of how long I've been in the industry, not everybody starts out understanding why they chose to be a hairdresser, and not everybody wants to stay being a hairdresser. So I think the burnout for them is knowing that they have avenues to move on, do other things. I'm constantly asking them, what's next for you? What's next for you? And if they want to do something else, included, cut their hours, change. I really do try to be that support person and help open those doors for them, whatever it would be. I just think that's important.
Yeah, I love, Lori, that you're partnering with Lonza or utilizing some of their resources that they have, but it doesn't always have to, because I think about, well, maybe somebody's a brand new owner and they have a brand new team and maybe they can't financially afford to provide that yet, or maybe they haven't earned enough points to redeem towards something like that yet. And so sometimes it's just getting them outside of the environment that might be causing the burnout. And that doesn't necessarily mean that your business is causing their burnout, but maybe, somebody no showed them that day, and maybe one of the clients had a bad story that day, or, whatever it is, that just taking them outside, literally maybe taking them outside, or doing,
Mhm.
I've seen people change their team meetings that they used to have very structured PowerPoints, all the things, to now we're going to do like a yoga class, or we're going to do a stretching class, or they do team photography and they do some fun photos, or just some things that are outside of what we say our industry norms, really. And again, going back to like how long we've all been a part of the industry, being adaptable to the change, because we have new younger people coming in now that are almost expecting this to be part of their work environment. And if we're not doing those things, then we're in a retention, a team retention conflict, right? Would you agree? Like, have you guys experienced losing any team members because of burnout or a culture issue, or not being compatible with each other? Have you guys experienced any of that?
Oh, yeah, I think we all have.
Totally.
And that's where our own personal development comes in, and how we develop ourselves as leaders. I think I had a huge wake up call in 20, I don't know, 2022, 2023, and it's just like, oh shoot, I am telling too much and not listening as much. So that was um that was when I realized I needed to change something about myself.
Mm-hmm.
I totally agree with that very thought, Lori. We're past it to one degree, but we're still living with the effects of COVID, and it changed everything, So for me personally, I lost a whole spa. I mean, my whole spa quit shortly or after near, and so I've been, rebuilding that in a different way. Like I have a woman that runs the spa now, and it's independent, and she is thriving, and she's now hiring and managing and doing those things. And it was a big moment for me. I had a lot of soul searching, a lot of figuring out, a lot of not knowing what to do next. But we've moved forward and we're moving on, and it's a good thing now. So huge change.
Mm-hmm. Some of the biggest takeaways that I have from this conversation so far is, one, you guys said like be vulnerable, and kind of where you're at.
Totally.
Yeah, early on, find a community. Maybe that's, one or two people. It doesn't have to necessarily be an entire group. um, also joining some of these communities costs money, right? Like you're paying to be a part of some of these groups, but the value that you can get back from that can be tenfold and can, change your whole business. If you guys had to start over today, would you pick the beauty industry all over again? And what are some of those key things that you would do differently?
So, for me, I would not leave this industry. I think it's a fabulous industry. I knew very young, Laura, you know my story. So, I knew very young I was going to be a hairdresser, and I have never been sorry. It's the most amazing, creative, fun, giving community I think that there is as far as career-minded, choices. But again, not for everybody. And, I think starting over. I would say find people that believe in you, live your dream, and buy into you. I think I had some tough lessons to learn in that through either um, employees that just didn't want to follow my vision as far as how tight I wanted to be with some of my techniques. And, being the best in the area was really, really important to me, skill wise, and then also, just how you develop as your company and being like one of my labels is easy to do business with. I'll give it away before I'm going to argue or fight with somebody. It's just not who I am. I think finding a good manager, whether it's just front desk, operations, somebody again that really is behind you and supports you. Those are just my few, I think, things that are just really important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree with that. And yes, I would definitely pick this industry just because I don't even know what else what I would do. Like I don't know how I can speak as free as I can in any other job or career. So, yes, I would definitely pick the beauty industry. And then if I was to start over again, I'd be like, invest in yourself and personal development, leadership right away. Find your community, hire slow, fire quick, find the right people for your team, and release control.
Mm.
Of that.
Yeah, I do love that. I think that no matter where you go, especially in a small environment like a salon, people definitely feel the energy of the team. They can feel the energy of the culture when they walk in. And that's true for your team, that they can feel that same thing. And they're feeding off of you or your leaders that you have in place. And the clients that come in are feeding off the whole team. So it's kind of like a chain reaction that's happening. And so there is a lot of pressure on the business owner to make sure that those things are falling in the right places. And again, Lori, I'm going to go back to what you said early on, is taking care of yourself, because if you don't and can't take care of yourself and your own mental health and, keep yourself regulated, then you can't expect anybody else to also. And I think that's one of those biggest takeaways as well, is find what that thing is for you, whether it be, readjusting your schedule, getting outside, doing something that grounds you, soul searching. Laura, you said you did a lot of soul searching, and being flexible and adaptable. You're right. We are still seeing the effects of some of the COVID, or the things that have shifted because of that time. And so if we're still doing business like we were before COVID, we're probably struggling a little bit and have to make sure that we're making some of those shifts and changes to be flexible with our team and our clients, and see those effects of our business. So I appreciate you guys being very honest and candid. I think one of the message again was not to have you guys on to say, hey, we've got everything figured out and we're glorious and glamorous over here, but that, everybody does go through something, whether it's their team or personally, but people are constantly going through something. And it's really about that harmony again, and how do you manage it, and how does it work for you and your business. And you guys have great processes in place. So I appreciate you sharing both your struggles and your successes and the things that you guys are going through, as business owners. Is there anything that you guys, either of you, would like to share before we leave today?
I was meeting up with a couple of my crew, my community members of salon owners this morning, and I actually asked them, what is their number one wellness or mental health tip that they would like to offer anyone. And most of them is hiring the right people, letting go of control, Knowing their numbers too, like, so making sure that like you're mentally there is it when you know your numbers and you're financially literate. And a morning routine. I think having the morning routine and starting off with some sort of gratitude process is great for mental health, and it sets you up for dealing with whatever comes your way that day.
I love all of those together, especially. Those are really
Yeah,
great.
we
For
got
sure.
a smart group of women.
Yeah. And when you know people hide, I see some people like hide behind like I don't want to know the numbers, what I don't know, I can't hurt me kind of thing. But it's really about, well, you said let go of control, but you're kind of taking control of your business when you do know your numbers, which whether they're good or bad, if they're bad, you can control them or do something to adjust them. If they're good, then you have sort of that relief of like I can breathe feeling, right?
That's right.
I love all that. Thank you. I totally agree with everything she just said. I think um, just, taking that time for yourself and taking a deep breath some days. And, I have days where I absolutely walk away, from my salon and I can. And I think it's really important. I also have, staff members that I know I can count on and they show up and they're trustworthy. And, that balance is just the biggest part of it is finding that balance. And thank you, Lori, for having us. It was wonderful.
Yeah, thank you both. Thank you for both for being here and sharing this conversation today. I'm sure that a lot of people will feel some relief and not so alone, and hopefully go out and maybe find somebody or a couple people to form a community with, and just get a little bit stronger as we go. So thank you guys both for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Happy Wellness Month.
Yes, everybody have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you.